Hello, everyone. We are coming at you live from the Liminal Pines. I'm Alan, and this is my shoddy little setup that I have right here. You don't get to see my face first thing today, so apologies for that. I really just don't feel like moving the camera around. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Today, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be drawing some ancient ruins. Ooh, and I have a new sketchbook. The last sketchbook is completed, and there's a short out on my channel right now of me just flipping through it very quickly. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to record a longer sketchbook tour. I'm going to post a more long form, deep dive into the sketchbook. I might have it up by like Tuesday. It really just depends on how I'm feeling, how lazy I'm feeling, because I'm working on other things, of course. But yeah, I just started a little bit early. We're not gonna start drawing early. I'm gonna wait until 5 o'clock to hit. But I just wanted to, for the early birds that are here, or for people watching after this is up and published 100% on YouTube, I'm gonna do a little bit of show and tell. I have two things that I want to show you here today, and two things that I want to tell you about. The first thing is Moby Dick. I'm rereading Moby Dick right now. It's my favorite book of all time, and you can tell I'm like probably like a fifth of the way through the book. I think there's like 500 pages in here of actual prose. This is a Norton Critical edition, so it has a lot of extra stuff. So, but there's 500 pages of actual like written prose by Herman Melville, and I'm on page 120. So yeah, I'm over a fifth of the way through the book. A dauntingly large book, but just an amazing read from beginning to end. No, Herman Melville does not miss with this novel. Yeah. If you haven't read Moby Dick, you've probably heard of it. And if you've heard of it and you haven't read it, I encourage you to read it. This novel is fantastic. If you can, get your hands on a Longman Critical edition. This is by Norton. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this is a Norton published. I can't remember. No, it's Pearson. Yikes. No, there was another Norton edition. There's a few different editions. Uh, anyways, Longman Critical Edition. The reason I say this is because it has a lot of very fun extras in the back, but also, let me see if I can find. I know there's some around here in the beginning. One interesting thing about Moby Dick is it's an American novel, and it was also released in Britain, but the British and their silly little editors got a hold of it before it was published. So there's a lot of lines that are expurgated from this in the British version, and the authors here that compiled all the text in this book, occasionally they will pop in to say why certain lines were removed, and there's a lot of really good insight to the culture of the time and maybe why British readers just did not get those lines. So it's very, very neat. And of course, there's more of that in the book. You have explanatory notes, and also more revision narratives in the back. Lots of fantastic stuff. I recommend. It's worth it to go back and for each chapter to read all of these, because I mean there's some very neat stuff that you might not have picked up on. But yeah, Moby Dick is the story of Ishmael, who goes on a whaling voyage aboard the Pequod, whose captain is Ahab, a sort of like a belligerent sea captain who lost his leg to a giant sperm whale, aka Moby Dick, and Ahab sort of like seeking revenge against this whale. And even though this book is 500 pages long, this version, it's very light on plot. More chapters are spent sort of ruminating on concepts or feelings, which is one of the reasons why I really like it. But yeah, I'm just going through, rereading it. I do a lot of highlighting, and typically if I'm discussing a book and I have the book in hand, I will go back to mark it with pen my thoughts, like right here. I like to write in my books, and I think that if you don't write in your books, you're really missing out on sort of the fluid nature that physical media allows us to access. Because it's essentially, this is my copy of the book. No one else will have this copy the exact way that I have, the way I have it done up. But yeah, Moby Dick. Oh, hello, Lizard Wizard. I'm doing well. How are you? I'm just before we start the stream today, I'm kind of just doing a show and tell, talking about Moby Dick right here. Just talking about why I think it's one of the best novels ever written. And not one of the best novels. It's the best novel ever written. So I'm kind of just giving a little forward with this. You can find a lot of shortened versions of this novel, like you can read like excerpts of it, and I just think that there's like entire chapters dedicated to sort of just like the parts of a ship or like the parts of a whale, and I think that those chapters are completely necessary to getting the full picture of this novel. So if you want to read Moby Dick for the plot, I just don't think this is the book for you. And that's fine. Not everything has to be for us. But again, I love, love, love this novel. This monster of a novel. This white whale of a novel. So that's 1 point for Moby Dick. The second thing I want to show you all here today is, let me get this beast of a book up to the side. Another thing that I want to show you, we're gonna have to do some switching around. Camera off. I'm gonna give you all a little sneak peek on my next video, my next video essay, I guess I should say. I do have a sketchbook tour coming out, but this is gonna be my next video essay. It's over this little video game called The Last Guardian, and this is my script for it. I really don't care to show off the script in this phase, because who's going to be watching this stream if not for like a very close-knit group of people? And I'm looking at you, Lizard Wizard, that you're in here. So, but I trust anybody watching this. Don't steal my ideas. I'll know. Yeah. So this is sort of this is the rough draft, and you can tell it's a rough draft because it goes from prose to sort of just my my organized, disorganized thoughts that I need to elucidate further. And this doesn't take much time to get down. It really is just sort of like taking the ideas are here, but it's sort of taking these ideas and just fleshing them out into something that is actually like coherent and listenable. But we're taking a bit more of an artsy approach with this video. We're not really taking too much of a look at sort of the narrative, although there is quite a bit of mention of narratives in here, but it's sort of the idea of how this game uses environmental design, aka art, in order to strengthen its story, in order to strengthen its aesthetic, its feeling, its emotion, and it's sort of, we delve into, sort of like continuity, we delve into atmosphere. We delve into sort of like physicality. Uh, we delve into sort of just like the idea, because if you're not familiar with The Last Guardian, it's sort of a it's set in this jumbled maze of towers that just stretch impossibly far into the sky, and you're sort of navigating them. So there's a lot of wind and sunlight and fog, and it's all very very beautiful. It's a very beautiful game. We're talking about the idea of negative space. There's a Japanese concept of negative space. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to do some research on the research on this paragraph. But in Japan, there is this idea of using negative space as a point of reflection. Sort of this game does a very fantastic job on sort of framing your characters in this gigantic environment. So talk about sort of just how like there's different materials the towers are made out of that sort of allow you to infer a lot about the infer a lot about the area. You had your own PS4, great game. Ah, awesome. That's awesome that you played it. My biggest disappointment with gaming culture is that this game was pretty much universally lampooned, not lampooned, heavily criticized by game reviewers at the time, just because like it's a little janky. And I think if you can look past this game's jankiness and sort of just like engage with it more, it is fantastic. And I'm sure you know that, of course. But I, I do think more people should give it a try, especially as the next gen design game, Project Robot, comes out. But yeah, and I'm sort of like I'm tying it around this frame of sort of how conflicts and obstacles, even though they might seem large in the moment, as you're looking back on them, same as you do in the game, as you look back on them, they just seems like so small, and like something that was once so insurmountable. Just it just time has sort of has made it into just a small plot point in the narrative of your life, and just because if you made it to this point, it's like obviously you made it over that obstacle, and it's like, you know, maybe it wasn't so hard after all. You've learned a lot. You have become fundamentally different, and sort of that's the I have it right here. I said I like this last part. It should be the conclusion of the video because it ties the gameplay system, commentary, reviews back to the video's topic of the environment. So yeah, just sort of like overcoming hardship is sort of that's the frame of the video. If you remember correctly, the game felt pretty short when you last played it, which was around 2017. It's a shorter experience. There's an achievement in the game for beating it in under 5 hours. You have to be moving pretty quick to beat it in under 5 hours. Typically, I I no, not typically. I beat it in under 15 hours most of the time, probably closer to 12 hours, which is it's pretty short by modern standards, where games are designed to be sort of just gigantic and huge. But you know what? I'm gonna come out and say it. I like a nice 12 to 15 hour game. I think the way and how it's like very concise. It makes it a very neat package, and it makes it pretty endlessly replayable for me, because I have a lot of trouble playing like these like huge open world games for a second time. Whereas like these linear games, something like The Last Guardian, it's very easy for me to like sort of pick up and play through it relatively quickly if I want to. Um, so like I will always champion for games to not be incredibly short, but to be shorter. Because typically, if something is a bit shorter, you can sort of there's a level of editing that has to occur, and maybe by editing out certain bits, you cut out some of like the quote unquote bad parts. Huh. Yeah, same. I'm glad I could resonate with you. Okay. But yeah, look out for this video. I'm currently playing through the game again. It's probably like the fourth time I've played through it in the past year. But I'm playing through it again to get gameplay recorded for it. And of course, to sort of, if I have any more ideas, I can add on to the script here. Oh, and what about my big project? Oh yeah, the comics. I don't have the book with. I keep on meaning to bring the book up here, but don't think I have it. Let me pop this off so I don't. I have a Google Doc. It's not everything. It's not everything that I have going on with the game. Oh my goodness. If you're not wrong, you're drawing traditionally big cover it's a rep comic. Right, yeah, it's going to be like scanned digital, cleaned up digital. I need to get a drawing pad at some point and like a decent scanner. I know I could use like my phone camera, but I don't know. I feel like a scanner might just be more useful. But yeah, jeez, I don't have it. I need Okay, you hear my cat meowing? If not, it's pretty funny. Yeah, so the comic is called In Circles Liminal. Well, I actually I'm kind of I know I say I'm doing a comic, but I'm actually technically doing two comics. One of them is a short story that's set in the universe as like a prequel, as sort of like a test run, and I'm writing that currently. The other comic is the larger comic that's set in the larger with a larger scope in the world. That's going to be a bit longer. That's the really big project. But pull it up right here. These are sort of like this is not everything. This is just whatever I had in this Google Doc before I transferred it over physically. But it's these aren't even like plot points, really. These are more like sort of just like notes about like world building. But it's called In Circles. It's kind of like a Stalker meets Stalker meets like an American it's like a Stalker meets like an American road trip, like a road trip through like the sort of southeastern United States. Uh, it's kind of it's a thriller. It's thriller horror with introspective psychological elements, I guess. I'm really trying to hone in the vibe of this comic, or I guess shouldn't even say like this comic, the story. I guess I'm really trying to hone in the vibe because like I have the feeling of it being something super unique, and I want to convey that to the best of my ability. And one way like I try and do that is again through just like practicing art, sort of developing my own style, and really hope to deliver something that's going to be really cool. The story that I have in my head, even though it isn't completely finished, is something that I like. I think is like really interesting, and I find it really interesting. Like I have like characters and stuff. That's crazy to me because I've written stuff before with characters, but like I don't think I've ever like delved like into like making characters like I have for this before. You know, which is super. It's so much fun. Um, from what from what I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. While you're doing that, we actually have a second thing that we have to do. I need to refill the ink on my pen because I ran out last night and I forgot to refill it. So we got to get out the old ink towel, the ink thingy. He's the antagonist. From what you've read, Ulysses sounds interesting. He's the antagonist. No, Ulysses is the protagonist. Actually, he's a very flawed protagonist. He in Circles Liminal, him and his brother Harris, they're sort of this bounty hunter duo. They're brothers. Yeah, they're a bounty hunter duo for this corporation called Tangent, which they send bounty hunters into the circle to sort of collect things, to do odd jobs. Oh, you thought it was other? Oh no, sorry. Those notes were very, very, very sparse. No, other is just that's just a concept I'm playing around with is like having a character with the name other. Um, but what was I saying? Oh yeah, Ulysses is in the circle with his brother, deployed by the corporation known as Tangents. They're part of the bounty hunter program called Radial. You'll see a lot of circle terminology in the book, but sort of in Circles Liminal is the story of Ulysses and Harris. Sort of, they are going after a bounty, a target. For what reason? I don't know. Like, does it need a reason? I'm probably gonna come up with a reason just for world building purposes. But the greater purpose of the novel, or not the novel, of the prequel comic, is to introduce that there are like antagonistic threats. There are physical threats in the circle, in the form of hunters. And what a hunter is, it's like a manifestation, a physical humanoid manifestation of sort of primal natural fears. So like you have darkness, you have fire, you have uh, silence, things like that. And sorry, my cat's missing my stuff. And it's sort of their encounter with that overwhelming natural force. And the idea is that hunters typically don't appear on the outer rings of the circle. The closer you get to the center, the more dangerous it becomes, and they're not typically known to wander outside of like the inner rings of the circle. So the fact that there is a hunter that is straying that far from the circle is very odd in the context of this world. And it's sort of Harris, Ulysses, and the bounty sort of, I guess Ulysses and Harris sort of make a very a tenuous relationship with this bounty hunter to sort of escape with their lives. But it's sort of towards the end, things get flipped on their heads. Uh, Ulysses is sort of forced to jump in, and he's very violent. Uh, he has this like violence that's brewing underneath his skin, uh, and he sort of loses control for a brief period of time until he's reeled back in by his brother. Um, and then that's sort of like the story of In Circles Liminal. It really is sort of just like a chance to sort of like find a good way to do world building, and introduce these characters. But then, as In Circles fully opens up, it becomes the story of Ulysses, uh, out out on his own in the wilderness without any guidance from his brother. And it's sort of his journey to finding sort of a life where he isn't being controlled by someone else, where he's able to make decisions on his own, but that's also a world where he has to sort of master his own emotions, where he has to make decisions on his own, and he's in search of this mysterious character, this is the antagonist of In Circles, the overarching antagonist. His name is Melville. Moby Dick reference, uh, if that's something you picked up on. Yeah, but Melville, he's this mysterious, powerful figure who is said to have discovered the origins of the circle and is planning on using it for purposes. And Tangent doesn't like that. They send Ulysses after Melville in order to figure out what it is that Melville found and to put an end to it, essentially. And so it's at its core, it's about Ulysses as a character, but it's also about how uh, sort of Ulysses hears a lot of stories about Melville, and he encounters a lot of people who have stories of their own, and it's about how do stories influence the way that we see reality. And sort of we'll get to see how Melville has crafted this mythology around himself that may or may not be true. The circle, no one can really come to a firm uh, conclusion on like what the origins of the circle are. So there are different interpretations on what the circle is. You can sort of draw parallels to religion and stuff there. Yeah, this idea of the circle, in essence, it's kind of like a sci-fi. It's very like sci-fi. You have it's sci-fi paranormal. You have these like anomalies. The readers were gonna see who adopted Ulysses. Yeah. So the again, I'm sorry for the very sparse notes, but Ulysses was actually adopted by Harris, um, because they are not blood related brothers. Their bond goes a bit deeper than that. Ulysses' actual uh, parents, he doesn't know his father. His mother essentially uh, took him and her out to the circle, for her essentially to commit suicide along with her baby, which I know sounds very dark. But something goes awry. Ulysses survives miraculously, and Harris is the one to find him, and so he sort of like takes him in as his own. So it's not really like a fatherly dynamic because they're not the same age, but they're like 5 to 10 years apart in age, so they're more like equals in that sense, and sort of like Ulysses and Harris are sort of they're like two halves to the same coin, where one has weaknesses, the other has strengths. And I just wanted to tie that idea that like uh, maybe your family isn't always like related by blood. Maybe like we can find family, um, like through those we are not blood related to. That's kind of what I'm going for with their relationship. But because of that origin, uh, Ulysses has a he's very close to Harris in a lot of ways. He like looks up to Harris as this older brother figure. And so when Harris unexpectedly passes away from uh, pretty much mysterious circumstances, that really devastates Ulysses, and he is lacking in sort of like having that authorial figure in his life that for a period of time gets supplanted by Tangent. Uh, it's showing that Ulysses could go down a very dark path, and the story is about him sort of coming to terms with that, coming to terms with like what does it mean to have purpose? What is purpose? But yeah, I'm ranting again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's get into drawing some stuff. I love I love talking. I love talking. Can you tell? Okay, so this is the new sketchbook. You can tell it is a lot thinner than the other one. It's not as well constructed because this isn't a moleskin. I paid probably like $8 for this sketchbook, but I just wanted something new. I wanted something different. I can draw on the front here. I'm gonna do like a little artwork for the front and the back at some point. I want to do like a castle or something, like a tower. I think that would be very cool. But the this is not watercolor paper. Thank goodness we're done doing watercolor paper. So I got my logo here. My goals for the sketchbook, we're looking at backgrounds, textures, perspective, and expressions. These are all related to sort of environments. This is more like for character work, like drawing emotions. But my biggest thing that I want to do with the sketchbook is I want to sort of like want to get better at rendering. So like using like hatching and swirls and all of that to do to do something in a style that I find pleasing. Yeah. And the same thing with like textures and or perspective. I want to get everyone needs to get better at perspective. Yeah. It's a little thing I did. Uh, Trying to go back to doing sort of black and white for the most part because I just really like black and white. I think you do have a lot of skill in order to do black and white effectively, and I want to get better at that. And I say that just on the other pages I use color, but I was just testing out some markers that I have. Really, I'm just trying to see if they bleed through the page, especially if they're darker, like this right here. But yeah, um, I don't have much to say on these other than I drew them. All freehand, too. I like doing stuff freehand. This is more of the vibe of stuff that you can expect from today's stream, particularly these three right here. I just I don't know, playing through the Last Guardian right now. I'm in that sort of like Well, you can see it right there. This is from that game. But I'm feeling the vibe of sort of like ancient castles that are crumbling and covered in moss. Yeah, we're more Last Guardian stuff. Just trying out the markers too. Um, this is freehand right here, and even though it's not perfect, I do like the way that it turned out. This is also freehand. This is not. This is using like a pencil sketch underneath. I'm trying to get better with like my line control. And like I'm also trying to get better with the idea that like not all of your lines need to connect to each other. I find that makes for more interesting like line quality. Yeah. This is it looks really good. What am I talking about? It looks really good. What do you Thank you. My harshest critic is always going to be myself. Uh so I'll put that out there. I'm very hard on myself. Not like too hard where I'm like I can't do anything, but I try to be very critical whenever I can be. But yeah, this is it, and this is the page. We are gonna be. The freehand looks good. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm really trying to focus on like I think shadows. If you're working in black and white, getting like good, nice, deep core shadows can like work wonders for your composition. Uh, which is what I'm trying to like hone in on with this sketchbook. So thank you. I do. I appreciate that. We're gonna pop on some music for this stream. I know I've been yapping about The Last Guardian, but we're actually gonna listen to the Last Guardian soundtrack. Today I have it pulled up here. Probably gonna turn it down. I don't know where the peaks are. If that's too loud, let me know. Or if it's too quiet, also let me know. But yeah, I'll have that pulled up there. Let's let's do some of this real quick. So I need to date it first. I should lower it a bit. Is that better? I have it at negative 30 decibels. It's hard to tell because I have it on normal volume on mine. I can't really hear it through the stream. So if at any point you're like, it's so loud I can't hear you, please let me know. Perfect. Is that right there? There's something else I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to pull up some references on that's a lot better now. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. We're gonna pull up some Pinterest. Look at this. You can look at all my pins here. We're gonna pop into this one right here. This is my I don't know man Pinterest board, and it's filled with sort of like it says abandoned places, but it's also these other things. We'll go to the abandoned places section. Yeah. Ooh. That's what I like to see. Now that's what I like to see. Okay. I'm gonna... What am I gonna do? Pop this over to the side. Is it better there? Like that? Is that good? Yeah, I think that's good. Looks ancient in a good way. I like that. Very, very, very ancient. Okay, let's find what we want to draw here. Is this a new record? I got into drawing 20 minutes into the stream. You like the camera setup? Awesome. I always have issues. Sometimes I have the issue of what's the word? Getting crazy. With I sometimes accidentally cover up. I already messed it up. Sometimes I accidentally cover up what I'm drawing. I did that a few streams ago, and I was so embarrassed because I went back and I was like, ah, wait a minute. Okay. I'm trying to get my thing in here to a place where I can see the chat. Okay. let's find a thing here that we like. That's really cool. I like that. Oh, I really like that. Did we already find like a... This feels like AI. Oh, this is an AI page for anyone wondering why. The Aztec temple. Wait, looks so Thai. Can I unpin this? I feel bad. Was I fooled? I don't know how to unpin something. Looks hard to draw, but cool. I feel so bad that this is AI, though. Seriously though, how did I get fooled by that? No, delete. It does look hard to draw, but is this one also AI? Oh my gosh, it is, isn't it? It is. How did I overlook this? Get in the post, and I think there's an unpin button. Dude, you know how long I've been using Pinterest and I still can't figure out how any of this works? Report pin, download image, edit pin. I mean, I guess that's good enough. That's so sad. That is so very sad. Jeez, how many more of these are AI? So when I first did all of these, I was doing them on my phone, so I guess I just didn't look too close at them. That is very funny, though. That is very funny. That's cool, but that looks very difficult to draw. That's cool. That's kind of rad. I kind of really like that. It says view larger, and then I pull it up, and it is not, in fact, larger. I don't know if I like command plus it here. Is that any better? All right. Everyone at home, if you're drawing, please feel free, please feel something, but also feel free to draw along. We're gonna... I have a pencil here somewhere. This pencil here I'm using is a 6H. I mainly get like really hard pencils, so I don't have to erase as much. I'll try and draw as lightly as possible for like these outlines here. And maybe right click on the image and there's an open image and a new tab button. That's so true. Right. I have a save image, open image and new tab. Is that any better? Oh, sweet. Thank you. No, you're right. I'm just... Can you tell that somehow I managed to get a stream going? Yeah, okay, that's better. Oh, that's so much better. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. I'm just gonna do this very small. Again, this is a sketchbook, and I sort of like to keep my sketches dense. As you can tell, it also allows me to fit more on a page. So we're gonna try and do this. So the biggest thing that I'm seeing with this thing right here is it's effectively just a big... It's just a big rectangular prism. Yeah, like that right there. Perspective-wise, this is pretty simple. That's pretty much it right there. Then save for this right here. It's just another... I'm not gonna keep these lines here, but these are gonna act as sort of like guidelines for sort of like the form of this thing. And because this is going to be like an ink sketch, I'm going to like try and keep it like pretty like loose, because I find like the looser you are with some of these, like you can really tell if you're like overworking something and trying too hard to fit in as much detail as possible. So I want to try and avoid that here, if I can, because I do have a tendency to do that. I do have a tendency to sometimes like try and cram in too much detail where it's not needed. So we're gonna try and we're gonna do a lot of like implication with the shapes and forms here. We're gonna try and let the textures speak for themselves. You gotta go, maybe 15 minutes of it. Thank you. No, thank you for stopping in. I really do appreciate it. Uh, Enjoy whatever it is you're doing, or don't, or do. No, do, definitely do. Up and down, sort of like this is like in the middle. So I'm definitely gonna, or no, it's maybe it's facing down a little bit because there's a little bit of overhang. I'll try and do that right there. It sort of goes down a bit more. Sick. So cool. What's this right here? I'm not going a 1-for-1. Again, I'm very vibes oriented, so we're gonna go off of vibes here. This arch has a very interesting shape because it sort of curves back right here, comes flat again. I like that. I think that's cool. Then we sort of like have like a lot of grass right here. I guess that's like moss. Yeah, it's like moss. I'm here getting in between the semantics of like, oh, what's the difference between grass and moss? And it's like, we don't care. No one cares. So we're gonna do some like line work there. Definitely a lot of and try and do like some chunks of grass up here. Maybe that's something I can do. As far as this is concerned, we definitely gotta. We got like a foreshortening thing going on here. With those shapes, sort of. Yeah, I wanna get the vibes down of this shape, and I want it to be like 1-to-1. That. I'll do like some like circular bits there so you can tell that there's like little circles. This. I like this orb thing. I don't know what you would call this in like a traditional sense, but it's very interesting to see like orbs and stuff in these. Yeah. So for this, we'll probably do some like hatching here to sort of show that, but also I like this little cross thing that they got going on. Sort of a way that we can show some depth with that is to sort of like darken these bits right here. Bits that we see on the side. like that. Because if it's like rotated, you can see more of it. Same thing with this. I'm not doing a 1-to-1, but that can like that's like some like greebling, right? If you're familiar with like Star Wars terminology, the idea of like greebling. Um, what's the halfway to this? No way, that's the halfway, right? Interesting. That is not the halfway. Did I not draw that? No, I didn't, because that's the edge of that. Okay, so the halfway was there. I guessed correctly last time. Eh. We'll do sort of this. Put a greebling on that. This will sort of be, we'll give that a rockier texture. And we know that sort of like goes down a bit deeper. Let's get penned. Let's get penned. I'm gonna do this rock right here because I think it would be fun. And since it's in like the foreground. Oh. This will be like a foreground element. Maybe I'll give it some texture by doing some hatching there. Like there as well. And for these rock bits, try and for the most part keep it like straight and angular because it's a very like this constructed rock look is definitely a lot more it's a lot straighter than like natural rock. So that's one tip that we have for it being like more man-made. It sort of goes down like that right there. Sort of comes down over here. Got this little thing, don't know what that is, but that. Grass. I'll kind of faintly show the turn and form there. And we're gonna get this larger shape. That right there. Trying to do this thing like where like if something gets further away from your picture plane, then it becomes less detailed. That's kind of what I'm trying to do there. Really like these shapes that I got going on here. I think they look really cool. I'm thinking like maybe I can show the form a bit more by doing some little hatch marks underneath there. do sort of just like, I know I did a little round thing there, but I do think it would be better just to connect them down like this. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, like, what would you even call it? You were doing a good job. Camera angle is good too. Thank you, Kaylin. Is that how you say your name? Kaylan? Appreciate it. Kind of looks like a big, like a sucker, like a big gumball. It's kind of what that looks like. I like that. Okay. Into here. Yeah, we got this thing going on. I think I did a really good job with this like little overhang bit. Really like the way that looks. Thicken those lines to show that it's a little bit recessed. Sure, that's a bit dark. One of the things that I feel like I don't do very well is like I don't draw foliage very well, and I want to get better at drawing foliage, but geez, it's so hard, man. I'm gonna flip the pen over so I can hopefully get some thinner lines going here. Does that look inlaid? Does that look like a an inlet, an eyelet? No, the grass sort of like goes through there. Then there's sort of like a little cliff thing going on right here. I don't know how to properly show that other than sort of just like moving down. Is that the best way to do that? It's like kind of dark there, so I think that's gonna just have to be it. Haters will try and say that this is AI, but it's not. That what I'm doing right here is AI. It's not AI though. I took a little test today. Some friends sent me. It's like are you Sigma, are you Alpha, or are you Beta? And I took this test. Just keep in mind, I don't believe in any of this stuff. I just thought it was fun. But I took the test and it turns out I'm not Sigma, I'm not Alpha, I'm not Beta, I'm not even Omega. I'm a secret, like, fifth thing. I'm a Gamma. I'm Gamma. That's what the test result said. So I'm a Gamma male. Don't ask me what this means for me nor the global economy, because I have no idea. Just knows that it means that I'm a dangerous force to be reckoned with. I think that's what it means. But if anyone ever wants to know, it's like, oh, what kind of male is Alan? He is a Gamma male. I think Gamma is what turned the Hulk into the Hulk. So like, I guess if I'm ever like, if anyone is asking, I can be like, I'm hulking out. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm hulking out. Okay. I'm gonna add some like hatching here. Oh, I hate to like hatch this up, but I have to. Okay. That's still, that retained some elements. That's fun. I like that. I like what I did there. Does this entire side need to be in shadow? I think it does. Unfortunately, I don't know why I sort of did that, but I did. There's this really popular phrase for creatives. It's kill your darlings, or I guess don't be afraid to kill your darlings. Sort of, it's the idea that, you know, not everything that you make is gonna make it to the final cut, and that sometimes, even if you feel like something is a really good idea, or you really like something, you're gonna eventually have to, you might just have to cut it at some point, and you should just get comfortable with sort of like letting certain things stay on the cutting room floor, which is what I just had to do there. Do the same thing here with this little thingy. This gumball thing up here, I really don't know what I do to call that. Does the lighting look really good on that? When the light were like coming from like this direction-ish. Guess that works. Let's take the eraser to that. Let's uncover some of this, okay? I definitely, like, I didn't want to do too much detail anywhere besides here, as far as like cluttering the lines, because like I think it's better to like have like your like high contrast bits, contrast in terms of like detail, at like your focal point. I would say like this little section right here is like the focal point, and sort of like a secondary focal point is that right there, because this is like your dark silhouette against the backdrop. We're gonna take, what are we gonna take? We're not gonna take it. No, we're not gonna take it. Warm gray? Do we want to do warm gray on this, or do we want to do cold gray? Cold gray is dry brush only, by the looks of it. So we're gonna do this gray right here. Try and keep most of my strokes in the same direction. I've chosen vertical here, just because it'll show up on this paper. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. But I can sort of combat that by only doing certain sections in certain chunks. Like that. So now hopefully it makes those bits look a little bit more separated form-wise. It's got that je ne sais quoi. It's really got that je ne sais quoi about it. I like that. That's cute. You know what? You know what? This is cute. I like it. I like drawing like old things. Old things. That's if this isn't AI generated. This could very well be AI generated. But I like drawing sort of like crumbling architecture. I do get a certain amount of joy from doing this. Gosh, I love this little cross detail that I have right here, and I'm just so sad that it's getting covered up by all this. only real ones will know that that cross is right there. All right, and these foreground rocks are getting covered as well because they're not too important detail wise, so they're getting covered up right there. Hopefully that'll push it out of the mind a bit more. I'm gonna go through and maybe for some of these bits I'm gonna give them a little bit extra shadow just to emphasize that maybe they're a bit more dark in there. Same thing with this. Don't want to do it too much. Get that right there. Again, I don't want to overwork it. And I think that that is good for that. Again, I don't want to overwork it. I have a very bad problem with overworking pieces. Do I want pale pink? I don't want pale pink. I want whatever this is. Titanium violet? Sure, we'll do titanium violet. Talk about dry brushing. This is definitely dry brushing. Hey, you're back? You're back! Quite a progress, if you say so. I don't think it... let me be self-deprecating. It sucks. It's awful. Nah, it's not awful. No, it is awful. I don't really like dry brushing all that much. I need to get a new watercolor marker for this a little bit. Just want to tighten up that line right there. Sort of wiggle the brush around like that coming down. Yeah. Just would I leave the grass as is? Could, but I could also like do more of this right here. Or just solidify that there's like a lot of grass here. Okay. Final touches. I'm gonna go maybe for some of like for bits that I want to highlight. The underside of this I want to make a bit darker. The outside of that. I'm trying to think of where I want people's eyes to end up. There's that arch. So like this dark area. That little dark area. That one as well. Since this is our main silhouette. Maybe this bit right here too. Since that's sort of like a cool little overhang. Cool. Okay. Some more grass there. I think I'm gonna call that one there. Really trying to just do this thing where I like have like the frame like not be like a black border frame. I think especially when you're working in black and white, that can look very clean. That's what I'm trying to do there. Okay. Sweet. Let's can you hear the music right now? Is the music on or is it off? Because I'm listening to the music, I really don't know if the music isn't playing. Oh, you can hear the music? I'm just looking at my little audio bars here. It's on? Okay, thank you. Because OBS sucks. I have a little audio bar here and it's not moving. It's not very helpful telling me if it's playing or not. So thank you. I appreciate it. Can I fit 3 in here? Can I fit 3 of these in here? I don't think I can, so I'm just gonna do... I'm just gonna do 2 on a page. Yeah. Let's do that right there. Okay, let's find another image. Une autre image. So that's the one we just did. This is definitely AI generated. Or at least photoshopped. What's the world's most perfect Pinterest pin? This is not real. That's not a real place. It's fantastical, but it's not real. I've drawn this thing before. Encore. Beautiful as is. Can't imagine coming through. But this doorway? They know what's up. I've drawn that before, too. That's nice. I like that. I know this is another person's artwork. It doesn't look like it's AI. So... Ah! I don't know who to credit for this. Because I don't think there's a... Well, I would love to credit this artist, but I don't think... Can you just post something without having like a profile? Visit site. Let's hope this doesn't give me malware. Oh, it's literally just the image. That's interesting. Okay. Credit to whoever this artist is. You truly had a wonderful piece of art. Weird. I'm not gonna be copying it one for one. We're just gonna... Again, we're going off of vibes. One thing that and this is gonna sound very hokey, very corny, but one thing I would love to sort of do better is just to like have more like originality. Have more original pieces. And maybe sometimes that means like using something as like a reference to like to an original piece, but that's besides the point here. We're gonna take the composition of this sort of like that right there. You like using AI generated images as drawing references to business band maybe can teach you a lot. No, I mean like I don't think that there's I don't think there's any issue with using AI as a tool. Specifically, also using AI as like a reference image. I'm not saying that like I'm against that personally. Mainly just for this stream right here. I'm wanting to sort of I'm wanting there's this thing with AI, especially like with like older versions of like AI generated stuff is like they're on the surface accurate, but if you like look at sort of the details fundamentally, like maybe they might get some things wrong, and like I don't want to develop bad habits all the time, but like yeah, if you need like to generate AI stuff as like brainstorming, or like if you need like a reference, like I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Don't take your word for it. If you remember, you mentioned last stream that you're a complete beginner, and I'm a beginner too. So you wanna know? We're all looking for tools and resources. I've used some AI generated stuff as like references in the past. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It just comes down to preference. Though I do find myself using the internet less and less for like reference images. I've been buying like a lot of like books more often than not. that sort of like have images in them, so I don't ever really find myself falling for those issues currently. Make sure you didn't think about it that way. About the habit stuff. Yeah, and that's more of an issue with humans, like drawing like humans generated by AI. It's like it'll get very small things wrong occasionally, and while it might not look like an issue, I guess if you're wanting to like sort of like draw from imagination, like you just have to be critical. And there's a difference between like being like careful and being critical. It's like just because like you can use that thing, you just have to sort of like honestly, like it can be very beneficial to sort of like use something that like might not be completely off, but sort of like if you like correct it yourself, or if you just sort of like look at it and you say, this is what looks so like what is making this look a little eerie. So like it's like a learning exercise at that point, which I like think is like can be very useful. Sort of like if you think there might be errors somewhere. I think like the idea of this tower being sort of behind this one slightly. The idea of it being slightly rounder or thicker. And it has this sort of like rampart thing going on. I'm not going to do that. But bit thicker maybe? Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're gonna add a little doorway right there. One thing I didn't go over when I did my perspective stream is I did not talk about ellipses, which is its own sort of like separate thing in perspective. By no means am I an expert on those sorts of shapes. Just know that they're difficult, and you don't have to math it out, but you have to sort of like understand how sort of round objects behave in 3 dimensions. I'm not saying that I fully understand how how things behave in 3 dimensions, but I'm learning still. I would say I have like a somewhat firm grasp on those things. Like the trees here, we're gonna try and like capture. Some like gnarled, twisted trees behind everything. That's kind of cool. Drawing trees is hard, man. I like this tree that they got going over here, but I like adding rocks anywhere I can too. Jordan rocks. This is a big sort of like, I don't want to say like boring area, but there's not a lot going on. That. So that's gonna be like a little rock, like a couple smaller rocks next to it. Is that a tree right there? I don't know if that's a tree or not. That might get cut out later. I like these sort of things that they got going on, but I'm gonna round them up a bit more. And I really like sort of the texturing. I do really like the texturing of this right here. I'm gonna get a big old window right there. Oh man, I love whatever that is. What is that? That's like a window that's been like filled in. It's super cool. Don't know. I guess it would be like that. For this one right here, sort of. I think we'll just add some texturing. That's too deep. We'll fix that in the inking. Yeah, okay. Okay, I see. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start inking. Inking now. Again, not all lines need to connect. That's sort of what I'm trying to break that habit. That's like a really bad habit that I've gotten into, is sort of just like this idea that like all of your lines need to connect at all times, and that's just not true. Hmm. Kind of just doing some hatching right there. Am I gonna draw the person? I could. I could draw the person. That would definitely help like solve like the scale, but could like do have him sort of like standing like a figure like that right there. You know what? We'll give him like a little cloak. We'll fill him in black. Do they have a walking stick? Yeah, we'll give him a little walking stick. We'll also, I like doing this. I like giving characters like I don't know if that's like a flag or like a sticker or something, but it's kind of fun to like give them like a long pointy thing to sort of hold on to. We like that. Is that guy cool? New character. Who's that? Hmm. Don't focus too much. Remember at the beginning of the sketchbook it says you should focus on environment. You're right. See, that's why I sort of like have that little bit at the beginning of the sketchbook as sort of just as a as a reminder to myself to like I have a goal for this sketchbook and I really should just be like sticking to that goal. Especially like whenever I'm like, okay, like what should I draw next? It's like I should always be referring back to that, at least for this sketchbook. Uh at least for this sketchbook. Doing like little I don't know what you would call those, sort of like watermarks. Goals. It's always good to like have like a goal in mind. It sort of like keeps you sort of just like going the right direction. Like just always if you can have something that you can refer back to. Not even like small goals like I need to draw this, but also just like tiny goals for like finishing a project or for completing an assignment. If you can break something up into like its smaller composite bits, it suddenly becomes a whole lot easier. Yeah, yeah. Focused. Yeah, focus on your path. You got it. Or even like I don't know, like I always like leave myself like room to like goof around if I want to. Like it's mainly just like if I feel like I'm lacking a direction, I always have something that I can refer back to. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you get it. I try to like explain like my goal sort of like I don't even know what you would call it. My goal mindset to some people and they just like don't like understand like what do you mean like you like have like micro goals and it's like kind of that hard to comprehend, but I guess some people don't operate in that way and that's fine. Just find it. I find it odd sometimes. I've seen some people like whenever they're doing like trees traditionally, they'll have like for like the foliage, they'll take a little sponge, they'll dip it in ink and they'll sort of like press it around to do like the leaves and I was like, "Oh, that looks like so much fun." So I need to get like a wet sponge at some point so I can try that. They'll just take it and they'll dip it around the branches and it's sort of like it lets you get the detail of doing like trees like that with very little like actual like work. What I'm doing here is for this horizon line, I don't want to draw like a straight line because I think that would look too neat. There's this one artist, I think it was Steven Travers on YouTube. I think he said like whenever you're doing like your horizontal plane or like where your buildings meet your ground, never do like a straight line because there's always going to be little bits and bobs that sort of stick out from the ground, and it's more realistic just to kind of just like even if there's like little gaps to just do that instead. Can't draw trees. I don't know how to do tree limbs very well. I feel like I can do trees, but tree limbs I've always struggled with. Because I really want to like draw like jagged lines, but maybe tree limbs aren't always like that. That I don't know if that does that look like a tree? I've also seen like a lot of artists. They'll instead of like drawing like the exact thing, they'll just like put lines that sort of like look kind of like the thing that they're going for, especially if it's not like part of their main composition, like if it's not their focal point. And I find that kind of genius because it's sort of like, for one, it like gets you away from that like perfectionism, but like it also it's like smart to sort of like get shapes like down to like their essence, and like that's always been very impressive to me, artists that are able to in order to do that well. Like this, like what is this, a bush? Like, I don't know. Obviously there's a lot of trees in this area. Draw some grass, something or other. It's a very big rock. They've sort of like found like a little flat patch right here. I like that. I like that. What do we think about that? I'm gonna sort of like erase our outlines here a bit. For something this small, I don't want to do too many like details because that can sort of detract from the overall scope. So as long as I can stick my big shapes, I'll be good. This is pretty dark. This castle's pretty dark on the whole, so we're gonna do this one as sort of this like dark gray. It's very like imposing against the skyline. I wouldn't say horizon line. This isn't really our horizon line because it's diagonal, but it's part of the horizon. I had this really big issue in some of my first sketchbooks where like I would always like have something that looked really good with pen and ink, and then I would go ahead and just like ruin it with either watercolor or watercolor marker, or just like I would just ruin it with like color or something. And I just like, sometimes like it's best to just leave something as like as pure black and white pen and ink. For these, obviously, I'm planning to do watercolor. These like this monochromatic watercolor with them, but sometimes it can be very tempting to come in and like ruin your piece. I'm very guilty of that. Nice. Yeah, we'll add a little shadow for this individual here. Sort of this as well. And I'm keeping it loose. My last stream you checked out, Last of Us 2 video, you watched till LA Day 2, you enjoyed it. Cool to see someone go in depth on such a great game since you have the time. Thank you! Oh, that means so much to me. Thank you very much. I mean, it's fine that you did. It's a long video. I had to sit through it multiple times, but seriously though, thank you. I do love that game quite a bit, and if anyone wants to listen to me talk about stuff like that, I'm just happy and I'm very thankful. So seriously though, thank you. It's not a perfect video by any means. Every time I like rewatch it, I find something that I don't like about it. But on the whole, for the most part, I do really like that video, and I had a blast making it. I spent a lot of time on it. I spent like a lot of time on it, and Am I a little bit bummed that it hasn't got more views? I mean, kinda. Sometimes I am. I don't know. But the only thing that that tells me is that maybe the next video just needs to be a bit better, and I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. But now, having made such a long video, like, something like that doesn't feel as imposing. So, like, I feel a bit more comfortable making, like, long-form content. And I learned a lot about editing while making that video as well. So, for that, I'm eternally grateful. I like this. You imagined the video script? Do you want to see the video script real quick? I can show it to you. Or no, you said you watched the script video, didn't you? Oh no, you said, oh no, after the last stream, you checked out the video. I can show you the script real quick. Is it in Blay? Let me pop this off just so I don't accidentally dox myself with something. I don't know if that's a thing that I can do. Here's the draft to that video. Command Shift. No, wait. Command Shift C. The script is 14,551 words. And I sort of like I had it chunked out by recording for the video, by paragraph number, which bits were voiceover, which bits were green screen. But spent quite a bit of time writing this script here. Just if you wanted a little behind the scenes on that. But it was definitely a lot of fun to make, and it's sort of like, I don't know. And maybe I feel like I did a good job summarizing a lot. We'll skip like further on. But it took a long time to edit this video. No, I keep on saying that, but it did take a very long time to edit this video. Yeah. Conclusion. Thank you for watching this video. Some of this I had to edit out too. Like I would record it, I'd be like, do I really need that there? So I had to do a lot of editing of this script during the video editing as well, even though I spent a lot of time on this. There's a lot I didn't get to talk about for the sake of times, please. And that is very true. A lot of time was spent. And I wanted to talk about so much more, but it's like, yeah, the pages format is much more comfortable. Try it out. What do you mean the pageless format? I don't know what you mean by the pageless format. For this? What do you mean? Oh, you just mean as you just mean for this. Wait, you just mean here. Is there a pageless format here? There's page orientation, pageless. Whoa. Wait a minute. That's insane. Oh, that's huge. Yeah, okay. Thank you. I did not know about this. You want to know what's crazy? I've been using Google Docs for literally like 10 years, probably, and I did not know about that. So thank you. Oh, that's so clean. That's so clean. Oh, and it does that change the margins? Have the margins been whited? It does. It makes the margins narrower. Sick. Thank you. I'm going to be using that from here on out. But anyways, other than that, 33 pages. This isn't double space. This is 1.5 space. So it's not MLA. It's not MLA. Is this the one I was using? I think it's the one I was using. You found out about it last month. That's hilarious. So many like features are always like hidden Like legitimately useless features I find are just like hidden behind like really obscure things. Um, uh, but that just makes us who are in the know that much more productive. So I thank you for that. I really do thank you for that. Pageless. Pageless. Just trying to add some texture here. Okay. Um, do I want to do I want to do this backdrop here? Or do I want to just leave it as white? What do you think? Should I just leave it as white or should I do it with like with the this dry brush right here? Because I kind of like it as white, but I also like having the I kind of like having like the corners uh I like having the corners shown off by like, you like it like this? Okay, we'll leave it. We'll leave it like that. I guess the corner here is sort of shown off, being shown off like that. Sweet. No, I think that was the right, I think that was the right call. You remember how earlier I was talking about like overworking something? I feel like that would have been overworking it. It's like I think we should like let the because this sort of like implies like a squareness, right? I've seen some artists like they say whenever they're doing their sketchbooks, they organize their sketchbooks in ways that are like also like compositionally satisfying, and I feel like this sort of like falls in that category right there. Uh, it's like that's one thing I really want to get good at is sort of like having a very like compositionally satisfying sketchbook. Sometimes I feel like I succeed in that. Other times I feel like I just I get a little too crazy and ahead of myself. But yeah, I'm loving this sketchbook so far. I don't like that's very biased of me, but I'm loving this sketchbook so far, and it reminds me of the sketchbook I did back from May to August last year. It's May right now. Look, it's been a year since I've started the sketchbook. But anyways, it reminds me of some of the sketches I did in this sketchbook. I need more. I want more stickers like this. I went to a comic shop and got these stickers. They're so cool. But it reminds me. Ignore some of these drawings. They're really, really bad. I was using a brush pen for these. It reminds me of sort of like these sketches right here. This is sort of like whenever I'm doing like all of my like composition stuff where I have this like hatching and sort of like these like large shapes. Like I'm channeling my energy from like last year from doing sketches like this. You know? You can sort of see how. Now have I gotten better? That's subjective. See I feel like I've gotten better, but I feel like also like some of these sketches I really like I really like this one right here. These are like different than what I'm doing right now, but it's like I want to strike a healthy medium because I don't love these all that much because like they're not very detailed, but like they work good as like background pieces. This pages seem like good quality. They don't bleed through to the other side. It definitely is. I've been like what I've been trying to do definitely is like test the limits of what these pages can do. So the pages are really good. For this one right here, I started to get a little bit of bleed through, but that's because this was already worked and this I used like a water-based ink, so it penetrated a bit deeper. But other than that, I mean like bits where I have like deeper, darker colors, they don't really come through. I'm very happy with that, especially this. They don't really come through. And this sketchbook again was like $7-8, I think. What I like about this sketchbook right here is it uses Bristol paper, which is very, very nice for pen and ink. but the pages are bound terribly. This thing is like falling apart on its binding. You're getting like a look into sort of like what I was doing a year ago. So you can I used my black sketchbook in the last stream. Yeah, I used this one right here. This one is complete, and I have a short where I sort of flip through the whole thing, but I also wait. There's a little self portrait of me. That's what I look like, by the way. You've probably seen me before. I do a little self portrait at the end of each sketchbook, but I'm recording a long form deep dive into this sketchbook tomorrow morning, and I plan to have that edited sometime in the next week. So we're officially on the next sketchbook, so that's why I'm moving to this one. I like try and like fill my sketchbooks up from beginning to end whenever I can. So you can see in a lot of ways, like this sketch right here, like I really like this sketch. I haven't been practicing my gesture drawing all that well, so I don't know if I could go back and do the same good enough job. Yeah, you know what I look like. Wait, yeah, you've seen the video. Wait, never mind. You've seen the last video. You know what I look like. So I don't know. It's I don't know why that page is blank. You can, yeah, from the Last of Us video. My bad. I'm very dumb. I need to get better. I need to go back and like I don't know, start practicing. I was using different pens for all of these. This is the first time I used a fountain pen. It was a very cheap fountain pen, and it sort of like sucked and bled a lot. But this sort of like this sketch right here made me want to start like investing in like a good fountain pen like this one right here. Yeah, I like this sketch right here a lot. I like this one too. I think this one's fun. I love that sketch. I did a really good job drawing. This is of a photograph I took. I feel like I did a really good job with this sort of like contour lines right there. Again, can't draw trees. You can see from those right there. Can I open the pen that I just showed? Are you talking about this one? Right here? Or are you talking about like the Lamy Safari? The one that the one that made look 3D? Talking about this one right here? Like the one like that sketch right there, the one I used for this sketch? I don't know if I have that pen still. I might have thrown it away. This is a different pen. This was a different pen. I don't have it anymore because you've got things mixed up. I'm sorry. I'm not being very helpful. I'm asking a ton of questions at once. This pen that I used, the seal on it broke and it got ink everywhere, so I had to throw it away. Yeah. This pen. The pen looks cool, and the contour lines made through that. Okay. Okay, I get what you mean now. Yeah, this is the Lamy Safari that I'm using right here. And yes, I do. Besides like the contour lines, right here, I also think I did a really good job with like the line weight, especially like where like my thumb is up on the pot. It just looks really satisfying to me. And it sort of gets thinner back here, like bits where there's a bit more shadow, it's a bit thicker. I really like this sketch right here. I'm gonna turn that into a sticker. This is one of our this is a pot that we would use to water our flowers, and it broke. That's why like the handle thing broke. That's why there's only one thing. This is where the handle would have went right here, but it broke. And I was like, oh, before we throw it away, let me get a photograph of it. I can draw it. And I still think I have that photograph on my phone somewhere. That's crazy to think that this sketchbook is almost like a year old from beginning to end. I was listening to a lot of Lord Huron at the time. I still do, but I was listening to Lord Huron like every single day. This is I really know that when the contour and the hands are good. Thank you. Can I replicate it? Probably not. I'm not that good yet. Oh my goodness. This is like... This... When I talk about like organizing pages in like ways that are aesthetically pleasing, this is not what I was talking about. I was just like, let's fit as many faces as I can on one in one sketchbook. Yeah. I think no, I was using a brush pen. I think I was using a brush pen with this. I don't think I was using my fountain pen at this point. I don't think I started using my Lamy Safari until I got my Moleskine. These ones are a visual mess. See what I mean? That I would go through with like marker and I would like sort of like ruin it by like drawing a bunch of crap all over it. Definitely. Again, I like drawing like little castles and stuff. See, in some ways I feel like I've gotten better. But in other ways I feel like I've gotten worse. And I know that's just like a practice thing. And I know when I was drawing these, I was like, they suck. But when I'm going back and looking at them, I'm like, that's not half bad. I had a blue pen at some point for this. I don't remember what happened to it. I like working in black and white better, though. I did a few pages with blue. Jeez. Nice. I like this sketch right here. I think this one's fun. It's like of a little bridge. I like the shadows. I feel like I did the shadows really good. The stream is just turned into me looking at my old drawings. It's from August. Fun. That's me. This is a plein air sketch. That's me. we're both like, God, that's me. This is a plein air sketch. I did this like without a photograph. This is my girlfriend sitting in front of me. I really like this because I feel like I captured sort of like a moment in time. We were at Zaxby's, if you can't tell. These are not, I don't care for these. Line weight. My biggest deal back then was like line weight. I was too scared to sort of just like have like thinner lines, so I feel like I would like make thick lines all too often. Or I would always have to make lines connect. Sort of like this is like a predecessor to like my compositional drawings, sort of like using thick black colors. That's me as well. Wait, I drew myself a few times on here. That's me. That's me. These are two of my friends. That's me, I'm pretty sure. My head looks weird. It's because I made my head too narrow. Your cranium, your ear falls around the center of your cranium when looking at it from the side. So my head should be further, like, bigger back here, and I made my forehead too round. This is a, like, freehand, though, I'm pretty sure. I like this sketch right here. This was a dude that was, the one with the long hair is me. It is. I used to have really long hair. I used to not always be a baldy. Let me see if I can... Don't think I have... I don't think I have any photos here of myself. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe I do. Wait, give me a moment. Let me see if I can find a photograph of myself with long hair. Boom, baby. There I am. I use this for an ID for like college. Wait. It's not perfect. It was freehand, but that's of the photograph. Isn't that crazy? I have been bald for 3+ years now, I think. Um, so yeah, I used to my hair used to be pretty. It used to be longer than that. I had gotten like a trim. Um, actually, well, yeah. So the bald is just easier, and I feel like I look better without all the hair. So that's my reasoning for cutting all of it. I'm sorry. We can just have myself like staring at the screen. Hello, Silas. You've come in time to look at a photograph of me when I had long hair. It looks like I'm in a mugshot. I'm just like flipping through my old sketchbook right now. Like I'm comparing it to sort of like the sketches that I did here today, and sort of like, I don't know. I'm kind of like partially seeing how I improved, but also like seeing like how I've done better. The hair looks so nice. Why did I cut that? It's not that the hair wasn't nice. Like I took really good care of my hair. But that's the thing, is that like taking care of like hair that's that long is such a pain, and it takes forever. And I've really wanted a simplicity in my life. And the first thing to go is the hair. So I apologize. As Aya says, you kind of look like my brother when he had long hair. Is your brother as cool as I am? Real questions. Real questions. But I tried growing my hair back out again, probably like 4 months ago. It was like at the beginning of the year, and I got it like, Silas, I believe that your brother is as cool as I am. He's probably cooler than I am. But I tried growing my hair out again, and it was, I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't trying to grow it really long. I was just trying to grow it to like an inch or two, and it just I wasn't feeling it. I like the bald, even though like I have to like trim my hair down pretty frequently, like once every week and a half, 2 weeks. It's still better than having to like wash my hair. I still wash my hair, but having to like wash all of that hair. Yeah, buzz cuts are so convenient. Buzz cuts are convenient, especially like I haven't seen a barber in forever, and I have like social anxiety. Not bad social anxiety, but like I would prefer not to like put myself in social situations whenever possible. And talking to a barber, not my favorite thing in the world. These sketches suck. This might be a fountain pen sketch. Okay. Yeah, that was my final sketch for this sketchbook. So, going back and looking at it, I don't know what this core shadow is right here. My nose is massive for some reason. My mouth is down very far, so I should have moved all that up. I think the eyes are funny, how they're kind of misshapen. Something about the ear there isn't perfect. I could have like indicated with my with some like stippling or something that I had some hair right here. The hat is not the worst part of this. I just think I shifted my face down too much and made my nose too wide. As far as like the body goes, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Yeah. And then here's a little comic that I picked up at a little comic shop. It says for mature readers. I don't think there's any nudity in here. Oh, there might be some. That's neat. That's a neat way to format a comic, don't you think? Like, that's so cool. Talk about page composition. And this is just like a little thing. Like, you could, like, making comics is just like, it really is just what, like, this works. And it's printed so simply, but it's like, you can tell a story with so little things. Oh, the photos made for college? Yeah, okay. This is gonna be very surprising. Because I was just talking about Moby Dick. I studied English literature. Ocean, I didn't see your comment. You said cool. Thank you. I studied English literature, and I have a minor in the French language, which is why you're gonna see a lot of You're gonna. I'm gonna take this photograph of myself off here. No, wrong thing. We're gonna pop this back up. Yeah, I studied English literature. Hello, Ocean, or Océan. You have an accent there. I guess that's stressed. But yeah, minor in French. Sorry, I'm having trouble stringing together my words right here. English literature, minor in French. I've read a ton of books, which is why if you go on my channel, I have a little tier list video where I sort of rank everything that I had to read. Not everything, but mostly everything. So I'm a voracious reader. You didn't expect that, but cool. A lot of people are like, oh, they see me drawing and they're like, oh, like, did you go to art school? I'm like, no, like, I got an English literature degree. And they're like, oh, like, so like, who taught you to do art? I have to be like, well, I'm kind of teaching myself. And people are like, wow, that's crazy. And I get a little bit of an ego boost. Yeah. Since we're here, let's look through this sketchbook right here. This is October to December 2024. That was a while ago. That's what you thought. That's what a lot of people think. But yeah, this is October to December 2024. I have another sketchbook somewhere and I think I lost it. It's hiding around somewhere that filled in the gaps between the August to October. August, September, October. I did an entire sketchbook in like 2 months. Wait, January, like, what the? How many months are between October and December? Septembre, October, November, December. 3 months? So I'm working at like a three month sketchbook thing, except for that last sketchbook because I had to take a break from it. But like, typically, I'm getting about three months out of a sketchbook. So for these moleskins are nice. Their paper is nice. I like these sketches. I think these sketches are so cool. I'm gassing myself up. The moleskins are nice. They're not perfect. The paper isn't perfect. It's a little too smooth. Why did I say it in French? Because I have it labeled in French. That's how I'm thinking. I'm thinking in 2 different languages. Forgive me. I'm not fluent in French, by the way, so don't I can read French decently. I can hear someone speak French and interpret it decently. I'm not fluent. I can hold a conversation, but I'm not fluent, so I'm just gonna say that. For these, you also thought for a moment that I'd go to art school. Sorry, Lizard Wizard. I'm not looking at the chat constantly, so if I skip over anything that you say, yeah, I wanted to do like art when I was in college as sort of like a like an extracurricular thing, but my college, they wouldn't let you go cross-disciplinary. I would have to like get on a wait list for it, and even then I wasn't guaranteed a spot in a class, so that's unfortunate. This was the Hands sketchbook. I think that hand is really good. This was the Hands sketchbook. Yeah, because I said get better at hands and arms, more composition studies, cars and shadows. I did good on the hands. A lot of people. I try and draw people every now and again, still, just because I'm not perfect at it. And it's like, I still need to develop a style, so I'm working on that. These are really good. I like those. These are not perfect. That's just a trace of one of the ones I did earlier. These are messy because of the colored pencil. Here's a Last Guardian sketch. Speaking about the Last Guardian. That's me. Unfortunately, you have to go. It was fun watching. Really hope you take the comics serious when you read them to me. It sounded really interesting. Thank you, Lizard Wizard. I deepest appreciation. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Thank you for tuning into the stream. It's been a blast. Thank you. I'm probably gonna end the stream soon here, so you're not gonna miss very much. I'm just gonna flip through the sketchbook really quick and then call it a night, probably. But yeah, have a good night. See you next stream. See you next stream. It's gonna be this next Saturday 5 p.m. Yeah, Saturday 5 p.m. Well, I'll figure out the content of the stream sometime the next week. I might put up a poll, so check out the posts if you want to vote on that. And have a good night. It's from Vagabond. It's a manga that I'm reading. Very, very good manga. I was trying to do this thing where I was like creating like a little persona of like myself as like a crow, but that fell off really quick. These are done freehand. I like this one. I like this sketch right here. I think this is the sketchbook where I made my like little viewfinder. See a lizard wizard. Yeah, I was trying out some gouache here. It went on to the next page, even though I'm pretty sure I sprayed this with fixative. Some simplified portraiture. Higgs from Death Stranding. Vagabond study. Zoro from One Piece. One Piece. I need to copy some more Vagabond panels. Gosh, I'm like looking at the sketchbook. I'm like, oh, look at all the things that I haven't been doing. These are definitely a lot of fun. I quite like. I like some of these sketches. Not these ones. I don't really like these ones. I don't care for these ones either. Don't care for these ones. These ones are fun. This is a messy page, though. Don't care for these ones. Study from Pinterest. Some of these I like. Ocean, thank you. I'm actually a really bad artist. Don't let anything I say fool you. I'm a bad artist. Mouthwashing. Ew, get out of here. I drew a lot of cars in this one. Joe, hello Joe. I'm sorry that you just tuned in. I am about to end the stream here soon, but I'm just flipping through one of my old sketchbooks. I'll show you what I drew here today here in just a moment, but I'm sort of just going through these old sketchbooks. I like the sepia. Like I used like a diluted browning for this. I sort of like the sepia vibe. I like the sepia vibe of this right here. I might try and go back to doing that. I have a watercolor brush pen here. I can probably fill this with some brown ink and sort of do some more of this. No, 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 and oh. Wait, should we make this a 24-hour stream? We're 2 hours in. I could make this a 24-hour stream. Should I? Sure, should I? Messy page. More hands. Probably next sketchbook I do. I'll probably go back to doing hands, but I want to still do more like full body portraits. That's Pedro Pascal. That's me. That's also me. You can see the iconic Bridges hat that I always wear. Here's my thesis on why do I draw. I still kind of stick to this right here. 24 hours, yes. Oh, no, I meant no, you're not a bad artist. Thank you, Ocean. I'm an improving artist. I won't say I'm awful. I'm improving. There are a lot of areas where I need to get better. Perspective. We love perspective. You'll probably see in this new sketchbook, if I ever get bored one day, you'll see more like portraits like this, so those aren't going anywhere. All these are freehand, except for this one right here, but these are all freehand. I'm really trying to like, I want to get better at like drawing like an expression just like right off the bat and sort of like simplifying it. That's sort of like, not to be like cartoony, but sort of just capture the essence of what an expression is. Yeah, I think this is a good pose. I feel like I did a good job with that. Is it freehand? I think it might be freehand. I need to get better. I used to be better at like having good line quality like this. I kind of strayed away from that. Shadow of the Colossus. More Shadow of the Colossus. It's my brother and his girlfriend. I did a commission for him and I was trying to figure out how to draw him, and sort of I had to do a study of like what his eyes looked like and everything. Um, yeah. This isn't the finished piece. I don't have the finished piece, but I sort of I tried to like stylize him slightly so it didn't look too realistic. I have no idea what this page is. Again, drawing his girlfriend, trying to get the angle right. I had a lot of trouble drawing like her lips from like this angle. It was very difficult, and I sort of had to like, this is a trace of like her head using like the Loomis method to sort of break down the proportions. And I sort of like tried to study that. By no means am I a perfect artist. Wait, here's about the time where I started to like learn how to draw lips. I'm still not perfect at drawing lips. I've gotten better at drawing lips, but like I want to get better. I'll get better. I will get better. This is when I first got this like Fude nib pen. I started using it to like do these loose sketches. I need to go back and do some of these. I think they're dope. I think for yourself it might not look as good because you want more critical of yourself, but to me it looks really cool. I love the art. You need to go now and subscribe. Ocean, you're the GOAT. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. I'm always going to be my worst critic, but like it's people like you that like keep me going. Really, seriously. I hope you have a great night. I'm about to end at the stream anyways. I'm at the end of the sketchbook, but thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate anybody that takes the time to watch me and my silly little ramblings. That's me. That's me. Yeah, and that's the sketchbook. Do I have anything in the back of this one? No, I don't. No, thank you, Ocean. Thank you. Hope you have a good night. So that's the little sketchbook. I like the Moleskine sketchbooks because of this and the little pocket in the back, but the paper isn't my favorite. So if anyone has any alternative sketchbook like preferences, let me know. I can sort of like do some research on them. I know Oahu has some like cool sketchbooks that are good for markers, like Copic markers, so I might look into those as well. This is for anybody who wasn't here at the beginning of the stream, but just showing off the sketches that I've already done in the sketchbook. This is an ugly sketch. I know I just did this one. This one is so ugly. I don't know why I did this brown. The sketch was looking decent beforehand. I also don't know why I did this scribbling on the back here. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. This is from a couple of days ago. I like this one, and this one quite a bit. This is from 2 days ago. Yesterday, I did this one last night. And today. This is today. So yeah. So in typical fashion, I started the stream off being like, oh, we're gonna draw so much. And then I rambled for like probably 1.5 hours and only draw it for like 30 minutes probably. And the rest of it was fumbling around with OBS, but I had a really good time today. Also, my wrist is kind of hurting today, so that's why I kind of like deviated a little bit. I wanted to draw a bit more, but I have to rest this bad boy right here so I don't have to get my hand amputated. But yeah, that was today's stream. I had a blast. I really did. Here's hoping that I can do something really special with the sketchbook. Something special. Here's hoping that I can develop my style as an artist and like my originality as an artist, because as you can tell from this right here, it's like I want to get good at backgrounds, textures, perspective, and like facial expressions. And I'm really hoping that with the sketchbook I can sort of like, I'm gonna try and like challenge myself more with different subjects and like sort of I'm gonna try and like enter like a learning phase a bit more concretely. Like I want to like try and learn more. So I have books, and I'm gonna try and do more studies. But for the most part, I'm very excited for this sketchbook, and we still have so much more to go. I don't know how many pages are in this, but it's quite a bit. So we have lots to work with here. So yeah, that was today's stream. And I'm gonna turn the camera to myself, please. Don't judge my room. Don't judge my silly room. Oh my goodness. Wait. You get to take a peek at my setup while I turn my little phone mount. Oh my goodness. That's what I look like? That's what I look like? Let me move this up. Why do I look like that? Real questions. Why do I look like that? This is what I look like, by the way. Watch this. Boom. I just blurred my background. Isn't that cool? Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope that everybody that has tuned into the stream has an amazing night. I had a really good night. Okay, here's a little bit of a secret that I don't tell anybody. Every week I actually dread doing the stream because like I have like anxiety about these sorts of things. But almost every week I push myself to do it and I end up having like a really good time. So that I feel like that speaks volumes. What's my name again? My name is Alan. Alan. I don't think I have it posted anywhere on my channel. But you can refer to me as Alan. You don't have to call me Liminal Pines. That's just the channel name. Yeah, Alan. But yeah. It's been a fun stream. I hope I also have a really hard time ending these streams. So have a good night, everybody. I think I've said have a good night like 20 different times. I need an outro. I need like a slogan or something that I can say. You know, like how like Markiplier and PewDiePie and like every other YouTuber have like something that they say. Like what is PewDiePie? Man, I don't just say bye. Bye.